I'm at Grand Central, and there had been a new star here. I haven't been through here in about a week, I think, but I first spotted her 3 or 4 weeks ago, and she had staked her claim on a piece of floor next to one of the escalators going down to the lower level, next to the Chase ATM. Well, the first time I saw her, just from the corner of my eye, I thought she was a traveler. I saw a backpack and some books and some papers, and I just thought she was a traveler. But the next time I saw her, I took a closer look, and she's probably homeless, clearly disturbed, but she was sitting there just writing and writing and writing, and she had papers strewn all around the floor around her. I couldn't see what she was writing. I'm sure it was a masterpiece, though. And she was there every day for like a week. And she's not here today, but I'm here a little earlier than usual. So maybe she'll make her appearance later. I want to know what she's writing. Well, much to my surprise, they're still here. I had predicted, and perhaps it was just wishful thinking, that these ugly-ass eyesores would be gone soon. And I said that because there was a pylon on top of it, and there's still one next to it. But the one on top is gone. No dial tone. The smell of pee doesn't seem to be as bad this time. But I really did think these would be gone by now, at the rate they've been removing them all everywhere else in town. I sometimes hear people get nostalgic for the old New York, 1980s, 70s New York, the nitty-gritty. And you can come and get it if you want. Still a little piece of that waiting for you. So I just overheard a woman repeatedly use the word opposite, but she pronounced it opposint, as if there was an N in there. Which reminded me of a high school teacher I had who pronounced it like that, and I think she was a science teacher. It was like biology or something. Oh wow, this one works. I didn't realize that. She was a biology teacher, and one of some coursework that we were doing involved the word opposite, where one thing is opposite of that, and this was a scientific distinction. But she kept pronouncing it opposint. So when we had our quiz or our test or whatever, where we were supposed to... Okay, this is weird. This phone really doesn't work. So when we had our test or our quiz, and we were supposed to determine if something was opposite of something else, everybody spelled it opposint with an N, and everybody got like 5 points deleted, or 5 points taken off of their score because of the misspelling. And she was made aware of this, that it was her pronunciation that caused the problem, but she never backed down. And because 311 can be weird sometimes, I'm going to try a regular phone call. Please deposit 25 cents. Whoops. Nothing doing. try a toll-free number just to see if there's any connection to the outside world from this thing. I'll dial 1-800-SOROBG. I don't know what that goes to, if anything. I just need some connection. Is that asking too much? Nope, it goes to the same message as 311. Welcome to Verizon Wireless. So, 45th Street, by the way, just off of 5th Avenue. One block up on 46th Street, also off of 5th. Nothing doing here. No joy. Two in a row. You'd think these earpieces are valuable or something. Somebody's going around stealing all of them. But that science teacher said that her pronunciation of opposint was a Midwestern thing. But she had enormous breasts. They were kind of absurd. What I remember most about that was how much she talked about them. God, look at this thing. It's disgusting. But she talked about her breasts an awful lot, considering who she was talking to. A bunch of pubescent high school boys. I think this one actually worked last time I tried it. I guess all the rain has washed away all the stench of piss that used to make these things unapproachable. I didn't see this. There's a advertising intervention on this panel. I don't think this was here last time. I think these are the last ones off of around 5th Avenue between 42nd and 57th, except for the PTS phone down in Rockefeller Center. You know, the moment I made that last comment, I remembered I'm wrong. There's this one other set of 3, which has a whole mess of graffiti on this side. I think this has actually increased since I first saw it. Off the hook, suggesting somebody at least tried to use it. No dial tone, but a little bit of a crackle. Suggests maybe it still has a pulse. Not even a crackle on this one. Nothing doing here. Not a single working payphone in Midtown, except I'll assume the one downstairs, which I guess I'll get to next. But speaking of high school, I just discarded a copy of the high school alumni magazine that they insist on continuing to send to me. I'm also being force-fed an alumni email newsletter that appears to be impossible to unsubscribe from. Or let's be proper. From which it appears to be impossible to unsubscribe. Or from which unsubscribing is impossible. I do glance at the... Oh, you know what? This wasn't even my high school. This was my grade school alumni newsletter. Like, really, do I care? Do they really think I still care? But I will admit I check the alumni notes. See if there's anything on my 6th grade classmates. Here are these new, well, they're not that new anymore, but in the vending machine world, these are the next big thing. This stuff's all like normal looking stuff, but they had machines for a while where you could buy a diamond ring or an iPad or a very expensive thing. Let's see what B6 costs. Are you kidding me? Strange unrounded price, but I think they're all like that. $5. $5.71. Let's call it $6 for a can of coffee. Yeah. I don't get a email newsletter from my grade school. I do get that from the high school. And it's always annoying to me, but what am I supposed to say? Here it is. The vaunted, the illustrious, the always reliable, although I'm not going to test it for a coin call today. Those previous phones were all City Bridge. City Bridge does not care about its phones anymore, and they're going fast. That's why I'm surprised those are still out there. They have to be gone by the end of the year, and they've been way ahead of schedule on that. But this is PTS, and PTS has a dial tone, and I'll try. I'll see what 1-800-SORABJI goes to, since this should work. But if you need a payphone in Midtown, this is your best bet. Although it remains to be seen if Penn Station is still alive and kicking. 1-800-SORABJI cannot be completed as dialed. Big surprise. I was hoping there'd be a SORABJI hotline or something. Anyway, I'm gonna say this one works, but I don't have enough coins on me to test it. This sign always makes me think I'm headed into the bondage, discipline, and flubby-flub masochism train. There's another phone in here, but I'm sure it doesn't work. And this one's dead and it's not coming back. Like ever. That's a cool profile, though, with the long hallway on both sides of it. This is 42nd Street and 6th Avenue, Bryant Park. And I think this one still works. I'm certain it worked last time I was here. It does indeed have dial tone, as well as a questionable liquid type something on it. I'll just try this. 311. Okay, that went through. That's a positive. Let's see if we can get some daily God. Christ comes to us in a special way after Jesus was crucified. I can't hear it, it's too noisy in here. Nice to know it's still there, though. There's another phone over here that I always forget about. 5th Avenue, across the street from those first two that I started with today. Those two that I'm surprised are still there, but what do I know about the innards of these removals? But this next one is dead and it's not coming back. This one's dead and gone for a long time now. I did not think this was going to be open. But behind this, through this door, unless they got rid of them for some reason, are the semi-famous, semi-iconic wood phone booths. This is the Schwartzman branch of the New York Public Library. They're still here. These phones are they're all dead and not coming back. And of course they're iconic to me because it was this one specifically where I made my appearance on CBS Sunday Morning with Mo Rocca. It's way too dark in here. The door's still closed. I'll often see people hiding out in these booths with their laptop. I feel nervous being in here because I think they just opened, probably on Monday, for the first time since the pandemic. And here are the other two on the second floor. fan doesn't work. And I'm certain the phone doesn't either, but I remember once that phone was ringing and I answered it. And I never didn't get the skinny on why this dude was calling the number, but he's like seemed really angry at me for answering a payphone. It's like, why the hell did you answer this phone if it's a payphone? I was like, what the hell? It was ringing. Can't ignore a ringing phone. I don't know if you can see that, but the elevator signs still tell you where the public telephones are. Well, it'll get lit up when I said that. So I'm not going to do all these Times Square subway phones because I already know none of them work. And I've documented these at least once or twice. I don't know. This was the last one that worked though. And it's one of the few that you'll see with a 646 number printed on it. And this was a great spot because the musicians, the buskers, performed right there. It was great range. And I made a lot of decent recordings through this phone, but those days are gone. I just made some chit chat with a MTA worker. He saw me making that last little video of the Times Square phone, and he's like, you don't see too many of those anymore, do you? And honestly, that's about the only thing anybody can ever think of to say to me about these things. But he commented on the Fifth Avenue one, the first one that I got today. I could tell that's the one he was referring to. He said it was a couple of blocks away. And he said it was all covered with decals and graffiti. I don't know. Nice to connect with a payphone observer once in a while. Jackhammer is going to come across as soul-crushingly loud as it felt in person, but that was really loud. Okay, so this one probably still doesn't work. I'm at Penn Station, where I have good authority to believe that this one is going to be gone soon. But there's never seemed to be any logic to which phones get removed in terms of whether they work or not. Working phones get pulled, while non-working ones remain. Yeah, this one still works, even with its defective earpiece. Central Corridor, Penn Station. It's a fucking noise fest down here today. Just a couple of seconds ago, sounded like a huge balloon exploded or something, but it was really, really loud. Everybody was startled. Yeah, he still works, or she still works. S/he. Alright, so they're all hanging in here. I'm not going to documentate all the... I got to stop saying documentate. It sounds stupid. But I'm only going to swing back on these when they're gone, or when some of them are gone. PREMEISES. No smoking in these PREMEISES. Yeah, you can barely see it. This is through an opening on a construction site, piece of scaffolding. That's the old back-to-back phones. This is across from the Port Authority. I don't know if they're actually going to get rid of this as part of their construction project, because that's on a city sidewalk, and I would think their permit doesn't extend to that, but then again, their scaffolding is out here on the sidewalk, so maybe they do have authority. Kind of can't believe I never noticed this before, or maybe I did and just forgot about it. That's a big honking typo, man. Convenience. Conveyance. This is 42nd Street. Hotel 360 closed. There's another one. Inconvenience. This one's at the Port Authority. It's enough to make you think that's how it's supposed to be spelled. I've actually been kind of nervous about doing this Staten Island ferry because I started getting motion sickness. I nearly barfed the last time I was on the Astoria ferry, and I had an unpleasant experience being driven around in a car a couple of weeks ago. I didn't say anything, but feeling alright right now though. I remember the last time I was on this one, I was surprised because this boat, as far as boats go, this one feels like solid ground. But we'll see how this goes. So far so good, I feel okay. Unfortunately, all my camera batteries died, so now I'm using my phone. Just wanted to point out this is a really old subway map on the ferry. It doesn't even have the 7 train going to Hudson Yards. It's also pretty faded, that's another clue. Anyway. Yeah, this one works. One of the oddities about these phones on the St. George terminal is they have 2 numbers printed on them, a 718 and a 347. And these are the only 347 area code payphones I've ever seen. This one has an extremely short cord. Well, this one works too. I'm trying to be a little discreet about making this video because I just noticed a sign on the rules that said no video, but I think it said no commercial video, and this is not commercial. This is on Staten Island. A friend and I discovered this one when we did a driving tour of Staten Island. I guess that was about a month ago. This was our first find. This is just walking distance from the ferry terminal. I actually think getting here would have been faster via subway and ferry than driving, because the BQE is such a disaster. But of course the rest of Staten Island is not really walkable, or much of it is not. And there's a sticker again from those vlog stars I hung out with one time. They are everywhere. Where is this anyway? This is Richmond Terrace. Richmond Terrace and Wall Street. Across from the ballpark. And this might be one of the ones that gets used for this project that my friend is working on. But this one's obviously been dead a long time. I really hate holding a phone like this, by the way. My camera batteries are all dead. So I back up use of the phone, which I hate doing. Because I really can't see the screen. And the wind was blowing on when I was on the boat, and I thought I was going to drop this little thing. Very thin, flimsy thing. Flimsy feeling thing. Back on the Whitehall side, Whitehall Terminal. Here again are these used to be internet browsers, and there's a webcam, and I guess you could have made phone calls, but I never got that to work. But these have been dark a long time. I think since even before the pandemic. The internet access was extremely slow, but it was fun. I just did a quick pass of these, and it's the same story as the last time I was here. One of these phones works, and that's it. It's this one. This is the only one that works. Oh wait, no. Wait, I swear one of these worked. Oh, it's this one. I thought it was the second one. So there's your working payphone at the Whitehall Terminal. It connected to the dial-up pair earlier. None of these other ones work. I love this big sign. It needs an exclamation point after it. As for St. George, there are a couple of other carousels of payphones over on the other end of that terminal, but they were barricaded, and there were a whole bunch of cops sitting around them, so I didn't mess with them. But 3 for 3, it wasn't bad. Wasn't a bad ratio.
Bro. 34, nigga. 34. Damn. I was just loading him. I didn't even have thousands. I was just loading him. What are you doing, bro? No, what is it going No, how did you do it? Both times not going with that. Go. Let's go, nigga. Go. I know the fuck is this nigga not doing. This nigga is so embarrassed. Just follow him. Where to? Where to? He pushing as hell.
Somebody needs to tell that guy what a dial tone is. Because none of those phones had it. I think he even lost a few quarters on the deal. Sort of I mean, you could find some humor in it, but this is actually kind of a depressing little window into the world of the 21st century payphone user, or an attempted payphone user, a wannabe payphone user. I don't know. I can't believe the Oyster Bar is still closed. It's been, I guess about 16 months. I think they tried to reopen, but had to reclose again. Yeah, there's no indication here when they're going to be back, or if they're going to be back. Gonna go see if I can find the mysterious new star of Grand Central. Well, this was her spot, so either she got kicked out or just moved on. But she reminds me of this older man I used to see wandering around Midtown. He was very well dressed, unlike this woman who was not very well kempt. But this guy looked like, you know, he had his $1,000 Brooks Brothers suit, and he just patrolled around Midtown all day. And I actually thought he was, you know, had some destination, but I quickly figured out that he was just looking busy. And he, my first clue was when I saw him using a payphone. He was like screaming into it. And after he moved on, I went and checked the phone, and it didn't work. But it's the writing that she's doing that I'm interested in, because I'm interested. Maybe she could be doing art for all I know. But when I saw the older man that I was talking about also sat at tables in Rockefeller Center and would just write and write and write. And one time I got up close enough to see that it was just all gibberish. You know, it wasn't shorthand, because I'd recognize that. It was just scrawl. It was absolute nothing. You know, there'd be like an attempt at a word, and then there'd be some like incoherent combinations of letters. And he would just fill page after page with that stuff. And I wonder if this woman wasn't doing the same kind of thing. I looked elsewhere around the terminal. She doesn't seem to be anywhere in sight. But she was there like every day, all of a sudden. I actually did get some video of her, just like 1 second worth as I was coming down the escalator. But there's no way I would make that public. The woman was clearly troubled, and I'd feel like I was exploiting it. Or even if I didn't feel I was exploiting it, somebody else would.
I think that's a great idea.
I'm in love with this reflective surface. It's too bad it smells like pee. It seems to be a popular pee corner.